Hello everyone, welcome to The Good, The Bad, The TNA Impact for the Genesis pay-per-view of 2012. And I'm going to go off and say, wrestling-wise, in-ring action-wise, outside of maybe a few matches, and just based on also what I've seen from the crowd while watching the pay-per-view, some of it was a bit of a disappointment. In-ring wise, but for most part in-ring wise, the pay-per-view was good. Storyline wise was another story altogether. If you purchase this pay-per-view in order to get any kind of resolution in many of the storylines, I think you're gonna be pretty much disappointed. It seems as if they use this pay-per-view to further the storylines going into the next one. I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I'm just saying that some people would get disappointed by seeing that. And also essentially ending the pay-per-view on a disqualification as well. I've never agreed to... every pay-per-view I've seen where the main event ends on disqualification, I've always considered a bad pay-per-view, regardless of what the whatever organization it is. And the main event did end in a disqualification. Obviously, they're furthering the storyline with Bobby Roode and Jeff Hardy, so you expect them to have another match somewhere on Impact or at the next pay-per-view. More likely the next pay-per-view, with how wrestling seems to go now. Everything gets resolved on pay-per-views versus the anything can happen thing. This is where, but that's a different story for a different time and a different video. I'm just saying on this area, you didn't get much resolution. It looked like you were going to get resolution in the Monsters Ball match with Abyss and Bully Ray, with the way it went. You know, it was a very good weapons match, good in-ring action, good weapons usage throughout the match, ending with Abyss black hole slamming Bully Ray into the barbed wire. What is it, plywood? It was the plywood with barbed wire that they typically use. And it came off really good. And then during the next match, they show another clip in the back of Bully Ray beating up Abyss into a room. So now that storyline's still going, and you get no resolution through that match as well. Obviously, for matches that I thought were good throughout the night, the opening match of the X Division title, it was nice to see that it was a fatal four-way elimination match versus just a normal fatal four-way. I do like the elimination matches over the normal one-fall matches. So that match ended up being extremely well done. It looks like they're building Zema Ion to be a little bit more than just maybe this one-off guy that they're using for one pay-per-view. Maybe they'll be using them. Maybe they'll be using whenever they get the title off of Austin Aries, and put it on whomever they're going to put it on next, and maybe Zema Ion will take on that person in a feud here in the near future. That was a nice match. Another nice match. I would have to say the RVD and Gunner thing. The whole RVD, or not really the whole RVD thing, but the whole Gunner thing with him taking out every opponent by either pile driving them on the concrete or DDTing them on the concrete. I've actually liked this storyline, and they obviously use this aspect. Maybe they're going to give some RVD a little bit of time off, or who knows what they're going to do. And they had Gunner take out RVD. The match itself was really good. I liked it personally, and I feel like it ended in a proper manner. For the storylines that most people are probably going to be disappointed with, yeah, for the most part, the storylines people are going to be most disappointed with was the fact that, well, on the lower card side, you had the Pope and Devon, and it wasn't a bad match. But they've kind of been building this whole his sons are going to turn on him and go with the Pope for, I don't know, probably 6-7 months now. And then within maybe a few weeks of them actually turning on their father, they turn back and help him out for winning the match. So it seems an awful lot of build-up for not much you're going to get in the end. Now granted, it's part of the lower card. I don't think there are going to be many people that care about that. The Mickie James Gail Kim match was once again a good match. I like the aspect that they had Madison Rayne. They put Madison Rayne up top. I felt like it was maybe overbooked a little bit, but they put Madison Rayne in a cage. She dropped down 2 pairs of brass knuckles. One bounced out of the ring. The ref was distracted. She dropped down the other one. That gets intercepted by Mickie James. She uses it and gets caught herself. So it was nice seeing the face get disqualified instead of the heel saving themselves by getting disqualified. That was a little bit of a nice added touch to that. Also, something might be a little disappointing because you would figure this would be the end of the Kurt Angle James Storm feud, but with the way the match ended and everything, obviously they're going to be doing one more match at the next pay-per-view or one more match somewhere here in the near future to, especially with Jeff Hardy and Bobby Roode still going on. You'll definitely see something in the near future on that once again, which will probably end up being at the Against All Odds pay-per-view. And once again, another match that sorry, I'm kind of going all over the place a little bit, but another match, I won't say this match was a disappointment, it was actually a really good match. The tag team titles match with Matt Morgan and Crimson versus Samoa Joe and Magnus. It was great seeing all 4 of them work together. You obviously had the build-up with a wild card tournament going into the pay-per-view and then the match itself. And all in all, I felt like that match just came off really well. And it actually, I don't know, honestly, in my opinion, it was probably the best match of the night, maybe outside the Monsters Ball match itself. And all in all, that match itself, I just felt like it came out really good. The flow of the teams were really good. They seemed to click together in the ring, and it came out as a really good match. For the final match of the night, which was the Bobby Roode and Jeff Hardy match, the match itself was not bad, maybe a little slow at times, but the whole ending with just Bobby Roode getting out of the ring and doing everything in his power to get disqualified and eventually getting disqualified, it just came off as poor, and it came off as it's not a way to end a pay-per-view in my mind, and it just didn't come off all that great. And obviously they're doing it to build into the next match between the two, which will probably be at the next pay-per-view again. But all in all, in that aspect, they just used it as a throwaway match to build for the next match. So there was really no resolution there. You could have had maybe Bobby Roode get a unclean victory or something like that, and then force Jeff to re-get #1 contendership. They could have done something better than just a disqualification, but they obviously went the disqualification route. As an overall pay-per-view, I would probably give this one a 6 out of 10. And that's only sheer on the aspect of the in-ring action was relatively good for most parts outside of the endings of some of the matches. But storytelling itself, they obviously used this as a throwaway pay-per-view. It was to build for the next one of the Against All Odds pay-per-view, and it just didn't come off all that great in my mind. I feel if you were watching this and paid for it as well, you would be disappointed with what you paid for. So I give the show a 6 out of 10, and I thank you guys for watching.